Hey guys, we're here with Matt at Game Shack, and we want to showcase his Gren Maju Kashtira deck list. So what's your thought process on this deck?
I like Kashtira. I like Gren Maju. Unfortunately, Gren Maju by itself isn't as good as it used to be, so I had to kind of stop playing it. But I figure, okay, well, Kashtira I feel is not too good going first right now that we don't have a Rise Heart, so I figure I'll make going second. I want the Desires for the extra draw power, but I don't have a Rise Heart to save me when I banish my engine, so I run the Gren Maju to kind of capitalize on that, and I kind of changed a few other cards I had added in because I was adding the Gren Maju and going second as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's get right to the list then.
Okay, so we got the double Unicorn as per standard, the triple Fenrir, the double Rise Heart, and the double Scareclaw Cash. I think for most lists it's going to be fairly standard. They might change the ratio on the Rise Heart and the Scareclaw Cash a little bit, but for the most part this is pretty basic. We run a single Gren Maju. I used to run two. It's useful in certain scenarios, but obviously if you draw it and you don't have any banish cards, it's not that good, but that's where the Desires comes in. And you're banishing a couple cards for the Kashtira stuff. I also run Small World, which we'll see later, and so we're banishing a couple cards off that, so you can build up a little bit off of it. Gren Maju itself is also a card that can be used with Small World to get to engine. You can go Small World, pitch or reveal the Gren Maju, go into Rise Heart, and then Rise Heart to Unicorn. And so that'll get you your engine if you draw this and have no use for it. We've also got, for some of the going second type stuff, this is a going second cash deck, we run the Pankratops, the double Radiant, double Lava Golem. Again, these are good for the Small World as well as breaking boards. Great for when I inevitably get hit with the anti-spell fragrance. Radiant, just Kaiju 1, Lava Golem Kaiju 2. Just gotta keep in mind that you lose your normal summon when you do Lava Golem, so you can't normal summon a Fenrir or anything using Birth that turn. If you Small World, let's say I have a D-Shifter in hand that I draw for turn, going second, it's a dead card at this point, potentially. I'll go Small World, D-Shifter to Radiant, Sharing Dark, and then Radiant into Unicorn to get into my engine. Off Lava Golem, you can go, if you don't need the Lava Golem, you can go Lava Golem to the Rise Heart to the Unicorn. You can go, if you have Pank and don't need it, Pank, Radiant, Unicorn. So there's a lot of Small World bridging that can be done with this. We have for hand traps, triple Shifter, triple Ash Blossom. For spells, we've got the triple Pressure Planet, we've got triple Theosis, and triple Birth. Again, pretty standard for any cash list, I think. We've got a single Terraforming, we've got double Thrust in the main deck, and double Talent in the main deck as well. On to a couple more going second cards here. As mentioned, double Dark Hole and double Lightning Storm. Overall, there's not a whole lot of board breaking for the spells in here, for the main deck at least, but this seems to work pretty well for the ratios. We've got double Potted Desires and triple Small World. Desires, used to be a lot better when we had the Arise Heart to save ourselves if we banish engine. And so because I wanted more draw power and I like the Gren Maju, I said, let's run the Desires, we'll run the Maju. Sometimes it works out where you end up drawing the Maju or you have the Maju in hand, and the Desires gives you that nice 4K beat stick. Small World, like I said, for all the bridging, you can get to engine, you can get the board breakers going the opposite direction as well. Pretty good for kind of making up, especially if you draw too many board breakers, or you want to break a board and all you have is engine and you're a little skeptical about how you're going to break that board. You can go into like your Lava Golems and stuff with Small World. And then the last card is Big Bang. I did take it out at one point. I was a little skeptical about running it main deck because I kept, even though it's a one of in this deck, I kept drawing it in my opening hands and kind of felt bad. So I took it out for a bit. But I found if you want to OTK, Big Bang is really useful for doing so, especially if you have like a Fenrir in defense. You're going to have a hard time OTKing with that, and so this is good for going into Shangri-Era, summoning out the Rise Heart, banish a Big Bang, get your Fenrir. Gives you a little more for going for game as well. So that's it for the main deck. So SP Little Knight, I was lucky enough to pull it. It's pretty useful. Obviously, you got to be careful not to, if you want to summon it out, don't lock yourself with Theosis or Rise Heart special summon effect, which will both lock you into XYZs. But this is also pretty useful if, let's say you've got like a Shangri-Era that you've already summoned and you don't really have too many targets left in deck, so you don't really need the Shangri-Era anymore. The zone locking is not really working out. You can link it off to help break the board as well, which is pretty useful. We've also got the Utopic Future and the Utopic Draco Future. It's good for, like I said, with the Shangri-Era is dead because you don't really have much engine left in deck. You can use up that Shangri-Era to actually put a beat stick on the board with negate and the ability to take their monster if you negate one of their monsters while you have space. We've got the double Shangri-Era, got double Red Eyes Flare. Removal, we have the Mecha Phantom, Draco Sack, and the Dark Armed, both pretty useful. Gotta be careful with Dark Armed if you're under Shifter. Obviously, everything's gonna get banished, so you'll only have your Shifter in graveyard. So even though you can use the effect more than once per turn, you gotta keep in mind that if you're under Shifter, you've only got the one use of it. We've also got our number 11 Big Eye, and this next one here, the Typhon as well. So Big Eye is still pretty useful, of course, especially if you're Radiant their board. You can Big Eye to take it back. Typhon, also pretty good card for going second as far as I'm concerned. The only thing you gotta be careful with in this deck with Typhon is if you have the Kashtira field spell, Typhon's attack will bump itself, or will be bumped up above 3k. Potentially, and so as a result you'll potentially lock yourself out of using Typhon's effects as well, but still a pretty useful card to summon out, especially going second. We've got the Divine Arsenal of Zeus. I run double Zeus, and then for the synchros, just one Cheng Ying and one Baron de Fleur. Baron I've always run because you run the Ash, you run the bunch of level 7s. So long as you're not locked by Theosis or Rise Heart, Baron is fine. Good negate and a pop. Cheng Ying was primarily because I'm running the Desires, and so I'm going to get a fair bit of banish stuff going on. So I'll be able to use its effects a fair bit. It's going to have, usually, if I've desired, obviously it's going to have a good 10k, or sorry, 1,000 attack added on to bring it to 4,000. So it's not bad for a beat stick, especially since it's got some banishing ability to protect itself. And you can banish a Theosis in your graveyard and potentially add back a Kashtira card using Cheng Ying's effect. We'll do double Herald of the Abyss for things like Pirelli and stuff. It can also work against Mirror Jade. Double Dark Ruler, single Harpies for back row hate, Cosmic Cyclone for the inevitable anti-spell. We've got double Zombie World because I hate birds, and I keep losing the birds no matter what I do. Double D-Barrier, it's good. Double Evenly Matched, I still run it. Some people don't like it. I understand why. I do. Double Macrocosmos because if I need to go first, like I said, a lot of decks hate D-shifter effects, and double Macrocosmos helps make them very sad. So
Amazing. Thank you so much for the deck profile. Any shout outs?
Not really.
All right, well, shout out to Game Shack for hosting.
Thanks.